Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. This brief webinar is a continuation of the industry analysis, specifically looking at various use cases for our SharePoint-based portal product. So there was an introductory session where we looked at all the various industries that are using our portal product, and today's session is specifically going to focus on vendor portal for the government industry. And just as an introduction, when we say government, that can include obviously government agencies by themselves, as well as contractors and businesses that are doing work for the government, whether it be local or federal. So no further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Our agenda today is, first of all, we're going to look at the various features that are the most popular for either government agencies as well as contractors to the government. Then we're going to go into a demo, specifically walking through the portal and looking at these features. Then we'll do a customer review of real live customer sites that fall within this industry and see what they're using the portal for. And then next steps. And then again, just as an introduction, vendor portal is going to be the focus today, and once again, specific to government agencies or contractors. All right, so looking at these features, and again, this was the results of our initial analysis looking at all of our customers that are using the portal product, and we ranked by popularity which features they happen to be using. So this is a little bit difficult because, really any industry could ultimately use any feature. So this is not exclusive of everything that should be included, but it's obviously looking at the more popular features. So we are here, we're looking at government, and that includes financial management, order management, contract management, and data management. And we'll go into a definition of what each of these features means. So financial management, the viewing, printing of invoices, monitoring payment status, updating ACH, payment details, submission of new AP invoices. Order management, view, edit purchase orders, confirm receipt of POs, printing orders, updating delivery status. Contract management, storage and maintenance of vendor contracts and documents, expiration and renewal, electronic signature capture. And then data management, view and editing vendor contact information, including address, phone, personnel, tax exemption status, etc. So that is our introduction, and with no further ado, let's go ahead and switch over to our demo. Okay, here is our sample vendor portal for government agencies. Let's talk a little bit about the look and feel, and then of course we're going to go into each of these areas of functionality. So like all of our portals, this is using a SharePoint extranet site. So the SharePoint site is being shared, in this case with my vendors. It is secure, right? They have to be invited into my tenant as an external user. And therefore they have to authenticate to see this information. So we know who they are. They are logged in users. Let's go ahead and look at the look and feel. So again, this is just a sample. Really, this is up to you as far as how you want to brand it and lay it out. Here we have the ability to look at purchase orders for the vendor, look at invoices specific to the vendor, returns, inventory, contracts, vendor information, bank information, contacts, not to be confused with contracts. These are people within the organization that are part of my vendor account. So I can look at those contacts and update their email or their address or their phone number, things like that. Just a few ability to click on individuals and email them directly if my vendor has any questions. A link to help. A filtered document library. So these are showing contracts specific to the authenticated vendor. So it's not showing them everything. They are being very much filtered for whoever's logged in. Just a sample event calendar, and then a few more bits of functionality over here. I believe most of these I've already covered other than the discussion board, as well as a satisfaction survey. So let's start going into each of these. Let's click on purchase orders. And what's going to happen, you're going to see a brief working on it, and that's actually retrieving POs for the logged in vendor directly from my ERP. Depending on my configuration, I can enable different functionality here. So here you can see I've given them the ability to view and edit it, so they could change an expected delivery date of the PO. say we're running ahead of schedule, as well as acknowledge it. And they can also print their own POs. When you print a report from the portal, we're actually not calling a separate report. This is calling the same PO report that would be generated out of the ERP application, but it's doing it in real time. So it's presenting it as a PDF that now they could save or print directly from the portal. And again, to note, none of this data is being replicated to the portal. Everything is coming directly from that ERP as a live query. So that was purchase orders. Let's go into invoices. Here you can see I have a few things. I have the ability to look at my open invoices. So these are vendors. Remember, they're not paying invoices. I have to pay them, but they could drill into these and see the status associated to these invoices, whether or not they approve, maybe expected payment date. And in this case, I've given them the ability to upload new invoices for payment. As opposed to doing just a simple upload, I actually created a form here. As you can see, this is using Microsoft Forms, so I could capture a little bit more information from them, such things as like cost center and things like that. Maybe have them specify the PO number for me when they're doing an upload. If you wanted to, you could just do a simple, drag and drop upload there, but I wanted to showcase how I could collect more information from them when they're submitting these invoices to me. Returns, so these are returns, again, going to the vendor. They probably wouldn't be creating these, but if I was collaborating on returns with the vendor, maybe I could have them helping me process them or put the status associated to the return in there, like when the refund is coming through, things like that. Inventory, this comes up quite a bit with like contract manufacturer organizations where we need to collaborate on vendor inventory and give them insight into those availability that is stored within my, again, ERP. So they could drill into the various inventory that they manage, look at what's on order, how much is on POs, how much is on stock, etc. Contracts, let's go ahead and skip that one for now. We're going to come back to it and go down to vendor information. Vendor information is going to show me here a couple things. One, you can see the ability for them to print their own statement. So you could actually print a vendor statement here and give them an outlook of all their invoices, what was paid and when. And I have their contact details for their vendor record. In this case, I've actually given them the ability to edit it. So if they want to change anything from this contact record, they can directly submit it from the portal. Okay, bank information. Typically, vendors want to get paid in a timely fashion. So here, what I've done is I've created a updated ACH form for them. So again, this is just an integrated form. They could specify the company, the requester name, the email, the bank, the new name on the account, the routing number, etc., and then submit it. And this would go for an approval before updating the bank information in the ERP. And then let's look at contacts really quick. Again, this is the personnel on my vendor account. So I'm giving them the ability to actually create new records. So they could say they have a new person that's going to be my vendor contact, and I could create it directly from here. Again, flowing into the ERP, or update existing vendors contacts as well. So if they want to change address or phone number. Here you can see I made email read only, but I could easily make that editable based on configuration. So I think we've covered all that, and there was a few other things on this right-hand side. I included a vendor satisfaction survey. This is just a sample of an embedded Microsoft form. They could, again, say how their experience has been with me, rank things like that, as well as the discussion board. The discussion board there is featuring a Yammer integration, right? So you could go ahead and put questions and polls and things like that, so I could have a whole vendor discussion forum if I'd care to do so. And this could be with all of my vendors or just directly with me, of course, as the customer. Okay, so the one that I skipped over that I want to go back to now is contract. And contracts is pulling the contracts from the ERP, but I've associated a renewal action to it. And what this is going to demonstrate is our ability to kick off workflows and ultimately business automation. By clicking that renew button you see here, I'm going to show a message saying you're going to get an email with further information. And ultimately what I'm getting at is renewing a contract is a little bit more sophisticated. It's more, I'm not just clicking on a button. I need them to capture electronic signatures and things like that. So if I go to my email, what my vendor is going to get is a DocuSign form to review and complete. This doesn't have to be DocuSign, by the way, but my workflow I have integrated with the DocuSign template just because it's a popular tool. And if I click on this, it's going to open my contract. And for the sake of our contract, I've just embedded our end user license agreement. The vendor could review this contract, sign it, and as you note there, I could pass variables to this contract, the vendor name, things like that. And then upon completion, it's going to go for a workflow. What this workflow is going to do is it's going to route tasks to internal resources to review the form that I just completed. So here you can see they could link to that form. So this would be like a procurement management or someone internal that I need to ensure that we want to continue doing business with this vendor. And then they could approve or reject it directly from the email. So I could say this is perfect. And the next step in my workflow, what's going to happen is the vendor will be notified. Congratulations, your contract with us is renewed. So you will see an email coming right through. There it is. And then the last part of my workflow is I'm going to update the expiration date on the contract, again, in that ERP. So you should see here that the contract has now been extended for another year because that was the term of my contract. So this was by no means intended to be a perfect example of everyone's workflow, but it shows you how you could use the portal not only for looking at data and collaborating upon the data as well as reports, but also use it to start introducing Power Automate workflows and ultimately business automation. So that was it for the demo. Let's go ahead and switch back to the PowerPoint presentation. All right, so the next step on our agenda was to look at real live government, either agencies or contractors to the government, and see how they're using this as a supplier portal. Now, out of respect to our customers, as you can see here, we blocked off all their logos and things like that. So let's talk about them generically as opposed to naming them individually. But here you can see is a supplier relationship management portal, and they're including a lot of the things we just covered, the ability to collaborate on purchase orders, supplier information, contacts, as well as bank information. So that was one example. Let's go ahead and look at one more. This one might be a little hard to read here. So we got open invoices, we got paid invoices, purchase orders, account information, all kinds of financial details as far as paid or invoices on hold. We have the whole data management aspect, the ability to update contacts as well as vendor account information. And that looks about it. So those were our couple examples that we wanted to showcase, just real live, either government or government agency portals that are using the application and seeing what they've done with it. So let's talk a few things about what a portal is not. So as you can see, this is not intended to be a B2C type portal, nor is it an e-commerce or shopping cart or Amazon experience, right? Obviously, those are more on the customer side, but you can see it's really geared towards a B2B collaboration. And then the other thing is it's not, just instant gratification. I have to really put time and effort in to think about what it is that my vendors are asking me for. What do they want to see? What are they maybe calling me? What are the things that I have to email them? And those automatically become all the candidates for what should be included in a portal, because now I've enabled that self-service for them such that they don't have to bug me or call me or whatever else to get those details. So again, it does require thought, and that thought is specific to your relationship with your vendors. We've done a lot of these, and obviously we've classified them by industry, but every portal has its aspect of uniqueness to it. Is a portal right for me? Again, I cannot stress enough, really B2B relationships where collaboration is needed. If I'm buying something from a vendor and, here's your money, here's your product, and that's the end of the exchange, they're probably not going to really care about coming into a portal. But vendors that are more long-term in nature, of course, so that's the next bullet here, and there's a lot of exchange of information, whether it be data, reports, analytics, etc. My vendors are basically an extension of my organization. It's just not a one and done type thing. And therefore, them coming into a portal is very much to all of our advantages for the sake of that collaboration. So where do we go from here? I will include some links to some further reading. The top two are Microsoft sites, and then the last one is on our website where you can see different portals as well as videos. And then some personal reflection. Do you use Office 365? Would your business benefit from a portal? And would my customers or vendors benefit from a portal? Obviously, it has to be in best interest of all the parties involved. That was all the time we had today. Thank you so much for joining. Take care.